Good morning, everyone. So, in accordance to Republic Act Number 42001, Act to prohibit and penalize wiretapping and other related violations of the privacy communication and for other purposes, we will be recording this video for your awareness. So, please let us know if you're okay with that, and so we can proceed with the discussion.
Yes, I'm okay with it.
All right, thank you. I would like to welcome you to Edukasyon Aksyon. Here we will talk about the new normal type of education and how we cope up with the changes, as well as we'll be touching the topic of the SDG number 4, which is quality education. During the change of the government administration, there has been changes in the education system. It may be more focused or astray, but more important is how are our educators are faring in this matter of change. Are these impacts at hand in the quality of education being brought up to the institutions, or are there changes that should focus on right now to achieve the SDG goal of quality education? So let's hear some insight from our first speaker, Ms. Rica Gonzalez. So Ms. Rica Gonzalez has 8-year experience in doing as a teacher. To begin with, she has a master of units related to art education, and her current position in De La Salle Sobel is a junior high school art teacher. So, Miss Rica, how are you doing right now?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you for the invitation.
I do hope you're having a good time in our few minutes that we started the discussion on this broadcast. So, I want to know more about yourself right now. So, how many years are you teaching in Sobel in total, or is it same as the 8 years? You've been staying with Sobel by 8 years already.
Yeah, it's been actually 8 years. It's my 9th year now in Sobel. I started in Sobel after I graduated in college. I eventually went to teaching right after college.
So you've been teaching art for 9 years already?
Yes, that's right.
So how are you faring during this new normal change from the pre-pandemic to pandemic time and to the post-pandemic period?
Well, I'm trying to get by right now because it's a very different environment compared to how it was like before pre-pandemic. Of course, I mostly enjoyed how it's like pre-pandemic because I get to interact with students more. During the online learning distance, online distance learning, it was kind of difficult to build a relationship with my students, build a rapport. So, yun, medyo challenging siya online. So now that we are on hybrid and we get to meet more students, and given that our subject is skill-based, the connection is really important. So I'm trying to build on that part, and hopefully, I get to strengthen yung mga na-miss out namin during the pandemic season.
So
like all the skills that they miss, all the knowledge that probably didn't stay with them over the past 2 years.
So how are the students coping up in this change? I'm guessing it's really hard to shift from face-to-face and doing online modules and online classes via Zoom or via Google Meet. How is it faring to the students, for your students?
Well, for them, it's actually been a request from the students and parents that they want to have face-to-face. So we really tried to look for hybrid this year, even though there's still some challenges like technology, availability of whatever resources they need and all that. So yun, I think they like more the face-to-face interaction rather than online because they said that they don't have time management, they have so much to do, they get bored at home, and all that. So yun.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Ms. Rica. No? I want to discuss a few pointers. This is actually the major questions for this broadcast. So, first question is, what is the importance of quality education for you?
Well, for me, quality education is very important. I don't think, before kasi we say that quality education is just for private schools, and that quality education should be fair for all. I mean, it should be available for everyone, whether you are in the city or in the province, in a public school or a private school. Because it helps to build and help these children, the
Mhm.
future generation natin, to develop skills that they will need for the future. So I think it's very important to have quality education.
All right, thank you for that, Miss Rika. No, so on to the next question. How can you be an agent of awareness of quality education? Being you in the as an educator in an institution which is De La Salle Subel, how can you be an agent of this awareness to the people, to the staff, to the faculty, to the students, and to the parents of these children?
Mhm. Well, I think I can be an agent of awareness just through action.
Mm-hmm.
I can only be colleague to all the art teachers I'm working with.
Mm-hmm.
I can try to be the best teacher for my students. I can try to continue to strive for excellence, not just for the school, but especially for those children that I teach. So I think that's how I can be an agent of awareness for quality education.
So it's a part that you can as well inspire these people to be an agent as well in quality education.
Yes, that's right.
So basically, right, as our old people are saying, the first education or the first school for these students is in their home, the safety of their homes. And on the next leg of their journey in life, they become you become the second educator for these children to build a better future for our society and for the country as well.
Yes, that's right.
All right, so relating your practice as an educator to the SDG number 4, which is quality education. So how are you doing your part as an educator to be one of those indicators that can put the Philippines on that map in the radar?
Well, in my case, I think I can be part of the SDG Parade.
Mm-hmm.
Really just doing little actions that I can within my surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think SDG has to be attained by not just one person
Mm-hmm.
or a small group of people, but with the help of other stakeholders as well. Like parents, the government is one that should be leading this as well, and all other stakeholders. So I think the only part that I can do really is to help build my relationship with these children so that they are aware too that we have certain goals that maybe we can achieve together.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
For you, is it attainable for us to put that score up high from the previous development goals that was enacted by the UN?
Well, because the SDG, as far as I know, no, there are certain goals that has to be met by 2022, and I think the rest are for 2030.
Mm-hmm.
Majority of which are kind of requiring a big change in the education industry.
Is it more on the construction of the syllabus right now? Is it comparing it 10 years ago and now? Are there a major change in the syllabus that you as an educator is putting into the minds when you're doing your class sessions to your students?
Okay, well, for the changes, I also think, sorry about that. I think we've adopted a lot of changes. One, for educational goals and competencies, we've tried to be more friendly. Kasi parang before, medyo idealistic yung mga goals na nakalagay for a curriculum. But now, it's a matter of developing a certain skill that will help you future it. And a lot of these competencies or goals are about developing the holistic formation of a child. And it's not just about being smart. It's also balancing the intelligence and emotion of these children, which I think is also very important. Kasi before, parang when I was in school, I remember that majority of the goals were just really attaining what your teachers are asking you to do. If you have to do math, you have to be good in addition, subtraction, reduction, etc. But now, the majority are problem-based,
Correct.
real problems specifically. So it makes, parang feeling ko mas holistic siya, in a sense.
So the approach now is more on combining the new technology that is happening right now, and as well as from the traditional ways of teaching.
Yes, that's right.
Did I get that right? All right.
Mas adaptable siya.
Yes.
Now.
Because right now, no, Miss Rika, we're experiencing changes in the technology, and it doesn't happen in a day, right? It happens in every second of the day, and there are changes in every part of the world that, if we don't adapt to the changes, we'll be left out, correct?
And even technology would change very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the skill that these children, even us, would need to adapt to that is something that the SDGs are also touching up on. Maybe not directly, but it's touching it as well. It's covering it.
Let me get your insight about this, no, Ms. Rika. So right now, if we're looking at on the education that is happening to the kids right now, from their secondary to their tertiary level of education, to their bachelors and their masters, is it more of you can focus more laterally instead of moving up vertically? So it's a matter of being a jack of all trades, but a master of none, though. But it's a matter of on how much you are open to new ideas and learnings in a different perspective.
Yes. I think that's, I agree with you. No? I don't think it's really master and none, because I'm also a jack of all trades. It's a matter of being able to provide opportunities for which people can really experience and see kung saan sila mas gagaling. Where they can be successful, where they can find their strengths, and identify also those things that maybe they can still work on if they really want to pursue a specific.
All right. Interesting. Thank you so much, Miss Rika. No? So on the latter part of our our talk right now. So I don't know if you're familiar with the fast talk questions.
Yeah.
It's pretty much similar to what Boy Abunda is doing in his talk show, but I want to do it right now related to our topic for the quality education. Right? So let me know if you're ready to start.
Yeah, sige, game.
All right. Okay, first question. Online or face-to-face?
Face-to-face.
Math or science?
Science.
Book or experience?
Experience.
Old normal or new normal?
Well, new normal.
My students are?
Great.
Parents should?
Be more understanding.
Teachers are?
Trying their best.
The school should?
Be more aware of everyone's needs.
The country should?
Should be more, should be less idealistic. I think it's education.
And lastly, education is?
The
future. All right. Thank you so much, Miss Rika. I really learned a lot from this phase of our talk, right? So again, I'm welcoming our viewers, our listeners, about the education action, that quality education is important for the people, for the kids, and for the society, and of course for our country, the Philippines. Thank you so much, Miss Rika, for having me to interview you right now, being the guest speaker for this session.
Thank you, Dan,
All
for
right.
the invitation.
Thank you so much. I hope to talk to you soon. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
All right. So good morning, Miss Mads. Or should I call you Leilani Maderazo? So before we start our broadcast, so I'll be just informing you about the Republic Act number 4200, which is an act to prohibit and penalize wiretapping and other related violations of privacy communication. So in this session, I will be recording our discussion in this. So I would just like to ask you first before we start. Are you okay with recording?
Yes, I agree.
All
Thank
right.
you, sir.
Thank you so much, Miss Mad. So, good morning again to you. And as part of the introduction, no, I had this discussion as well with Miss Rika a while ago about the SDG number 4, which is quality education. No. So, I mentioned to her that during the government administration, there has been changes in the education system. So, it may be more focused, or it may be more astray on the goals for the SDG. But moreover to it, I would like to know how important is this change to you as an educator, and how are you faring of the change, and what are the impacts at hand in the quality education that is being brought up to the institution, or are there changes that should focus on right now that should we focus on right now to achieve the SDG goal of quality education? So before we start, Ms. Mads, I would just like to introduce you to our listeners. So hello everyone. I'm having Miss Leilani Maderaso. So she has 26 years of teaching experience. So that's a pretty hefty long time in the academe, if I'm not mistaken, Miss Mads, right? So you graduated on BSE major in history and minor in Filipino, and you are currently in the faculty of grade 7 and grade 8 at De La Salle Subel.
Yes, that's it. That's true.
Yeah, so how are you doing right now as an educator for 26 years?
Actually, there's so many changes
Mhm.
in education that has happened for 26 years, but I am thriving.
What do you mean by thriving, Miss Mads?
Because I'm able to cope up with all these changes, no
Mhm.
matter it's good or bad.
Mhm.
Still, I am as a teacher to inspire the youth to make sure that we are going to have quality education here in the Philippines. Well, most especially De La Salle Zobel School.
Mhm. Well, meaning De La Salle, it has high expectations, right? When it comes to the quality education, I am too. I was actually an alumni for one of the La Salle schools. So I graduated at College of Saint Benilde, and I took up business administration. It's really right now I'm actually focusing more on being in the corporate world. But moreover, let's discuss about you, Miss Mads. Sorry for sharing too much at that point. So in your 26, yes po?
That's good to know. Animo Lasal.
Animo Lasal, correct. So speaking of your 26 years now, Miss Mad, so I'm guessing you've been in the old tradition ways of teaching. And right now we move into, well, leveraging on technology right now. We went from traditional to hybrid. So how are how are you adjusting to it, and how are your students adjusting to it?
Well, at first, I think it was very difficult for both me and the kids.
Mhm.
For 2 years, we have had the online distance learning. So
Opo.
we had to learn everything. And then for this year, we had the hybrid concurrent, another
Mhm.
setup that we needed to learn, that the kids actually at first had a hard time. The same with major concern when I started learning the hybrid concurrent is the technical setup in the classroom. Technical setup. And then the second is the assurance that the cycle learning targets will be achieved by all students. And then I think lastly is the tedious preparation for two setups. I mean the materials that we needed to prepare for those on-site and those online. But nevertheless, of course, that was in the early stage of the hybrid concurrent setup. Soon thereafter, I was able to manage the class, of course, with the help of my peers, because I am not. It is so hard for me, just like what you have said. I am used to the traditional way of teaching. So I am very blessed that I have these young teachers who are so in technology, like Sir Jolan, Miss Rika. I need help, even my subject coordinator, we have an ISTS system, and they're very willing to help. So that was actually my I think my major concern was technology, learning everything about the concurrent setup, the technological side. But afterwards, I was able to master. Yes.
So basically, that was the first challenge in moving into the new normal, right?
Of course, that I think it's the same with the students. I think because of course, if they're online, the first struggle is in the morning. Can you hear me? Is my audio
Yes.
working?
I have my fair share of that introduction to the meetings. Can you hear me? Is my connection okay?
And aside from that, you're actually managing students on site. So there are two things that you have to be aware of: the ones that you are physically with, and the ones that actually are online.
So it runs simultaneously, Miss Mads. You are on site and you have students on site, and part of that class is online.
Yes, we have cluster A and cluster B.
So how? Here is a question. So how are they? In the recitation kind of setup. So how do you do that? How do they cope up with that? So for those online, they can just be silent, or
Actually, not really. Most of my students recite online, so they use the raise hand button. They do participate. They're active. It's a matter of how you really manage everything. As I've said, it's quite hard at first because if there are questions in the chat box and then if there are students answering, so talagang, sir, it has to be you're multitasking.
multitasking? Correct.
Fast. So every first it's quite hard, but then again I get to manage, and then it's more flexible now. Before I was quite strict with my students. I do not want them to just recite without my permission. Or now it's because if I don't let them be active online, I wouldn't even know that they're there.
Correct.
So it's okay for them to just speak out or to just answer the question. So right now it's easier, but at first everyone was a little bit nervous with what is happening inside.
So but how do you manage how do you manage in engaging them? See, well, for my end, it's really hard to engage people on site and online, though. So how do you make them, how do you make them not go offline during the classes? Or are there cameras on, or is it something that
Cameras are really on. They cannot turn it off. It's like part of the online rule that we have to or they will be marked absent. So that's it. And then, of course, we prepare. That's about doing strategic, creative ways of keeping them very busy. So we have this learning management system, the Canvas. Everything that it's right there. So per cycle, we have a module there. They have so many activities. They cannot really be not engaged in the activities. So they really have to be active, or else they're going to fail class. So that's one. So many things to do, even if they're online.
On a funny note, Miss Mads, when I was in the secondary level, so right now there are no more cleaners of the classroom. How about the listing of noisy? There are no more right now because it's hybrid.
Parang we want them to be more talkative. Parang you're just talking to yourself. Are you still there? Are you still there? Can you hear me? Am I frozen? So it is better if they're actually
talking.
We can't hear you, or is number 4 really true? Do we answer? So it is helpful if they do talk online, but on site, that's the traditional way. It's okay if they're quiet.
So so how about conducting exams? So their periodical test, post test. So how is it right now? Is it online for both, even if they are on site?
Even if they're on site, so everything is actually in the module in Canvas. to access is the learning management system. I just publish it, or there is a time set, and then everyone accomplishes or completes the task all at the same time, whether they are in class or online.
Interesting. So imagine how the technology changed everything right now, no? So let me go on to the focus questions on this broadcast, right? So what is the importance of quality education for you as an educator?
Okay, now to simply put, quality education in the Philippines is a pillar of national development. I think that it's a knowledge everyone is aware of. Education is very important here in the Philippines. Hence, its relevance is deeply rooted in its essential goal, which is to prepare a child for a good quality life. It opens opportunities for the child that would ensure a good future. In the Philippines, education is actually important to the parents because we believe that it will improve the quality of life. Let's just say of those in the middle class, of those who are considered as poor, sorry to say that, but true. We have watched documentaries, my students are aware of that it is actually the thinking of parents that education is the key to remove poverty. So, of course, having a good quality education creates a powerful community that leads to a great economy and better society in the Philippines.
That's a wonderful answer to the question, Miss Mads. No, I've noticed right now that there in getting a job, even if you graduated, there are inequalities in education attainment. So, looking at the lowest level in the job chain, right? So, if we're looking at those who are hard skilled workers, it's really it's really, well, I'm really not that amazed for those employers that they even require a college graduate just to pick up the trash or to be a cashier at a certain point, because it's a simple math if you're a cashier. So why do you need that just to be employed, right? So I don't know, how what's your take on that, Miss Mads, on the equality of educational attainment, the inequality?
Yes, I actually agree with you on that. There's Okay, sir, I'm so sorry. Okay. Hello, sir, are you still
Yes,
there?
I'm still here, Miss Mads.
I actually agree with you on that. I think we have a very I think we have an unfair, biased standards when it comes to employment and the quality of education, or the education needed for a certain job position. What I am a social studies teacher and a Filipino teacher. It's quite hard for me to actually say things which is against our Philippine culture or negative things that would relate to a different or a bad reflection of the Philippine system. But I agree with what you are saying. If we're going to take a look at, for example, abroad or in the US, skilled labor is actually paid more compared to jobs. But here in the Philippines, as you have mentioned, if you're going to be considered, or if you're going to have a job like a basurero or a mecanico, you're going to be less. But if you are in the States and you are going to be a garbage collector, if you're going to be working, for example, in the wee hours of the morning, you're going to be paid more. And need a college degree for that, but
Correct.
you're going to earn
Because it's a skilled, right? It's a skilled based work to begin with.
So, if we're going to compare it here, because not only that they require, let's just say, a good job, you are also required to be from a good school.
Correct.
Company.
There are companies actually having that issues before. I just don't know right now if it's still a thing that they handpick you because of where you graduated, But given in just to look at equality in education, I am guessing every institution have that high standards, even if you are in an unknown school or a known school. It's just the same, because if we're looking at it, it's actually regulated, if I'm not mistaken, Miss Mads. by the government.
Yes, but it is so sad. So that's one side of our education that is actually disturbing, but and it is prevalent.
So looking at it now, Miss Man, so how does that affect the quality education that you as an educator is instilling right now to your students?
Well, I think we can just do so much. So what changed that I think I can imply or I can apply, I do. So well, fortunately I am in LaSalle, but still I am catering to students in middle class or in a higher class, and I think well that they can be considered as a fortunate group of students will continue to strive harder in life. Well, I do influence them in a way that can actually make them feel that whatever power they have right now, they can do better. Not just to be a successful human being as an individual with a perfect career, but also they can do better because I think these students can actually be our future leaders, and they so much if they're going to be in the right positions. Some of my students are already working in Malacanang, so with that, I am thinking, I am positive that I have taught them so many good things that they can actually apply what they have learned. So giving them a quality education that is not biased, opportunity to have their own principles, their own firm stand on what is happening in our country. I think they can do so much, not only for themselves, for their families, but also for the country.
That's really inspiring, Miss Mads.
Kind of situation.
All right, so relating your practice now, Miss Mads, as an educator. So, how do you think that you can be a part of the SDG indicator? So, how can we attain that that goal, for goal number 4 in the SDG of quality education?
Okay, just like what I mentioned, I am a social studies teacher. So I have been using historical facts and current events to keep my students abreast or aware of what is happening in the Philippines and globally as well. This way, they can have their own perspectives, their principles stand in life. Because I believe that I am already an agent of quality education in my 26 years of service as a teacher. It has been inculcated in my system that my role is to teach minds, touch lives, and
transforming lives.
Which targets the vision mission of
LaSalle schools.
Yes, of all the LaSalle institutions. And I think my life goal as a teacher is to really transform the lives of my students. And with that, I try to do my best to actually be a role model to them, to influence them as much as I can.
Thank you so much, Miss Maz. You know, I'm really inspired right now. I want to go back to school.
Zobel, if you would like to actually do a documentary.
That would be nice. Thank you for that invite, Miss Mads. So
I invite my class for a video recording of
our
hybrid.
I would like to be part of that one. So, all right, so we're nearing to the end of our broadcast right now. So I don't know if you're familiar with the fast talk questions.
Naku, okay, Boy Abunda.
Yes, it's similar to what Boy Abunda does in his show. So this is just a simple questions, pretty much related to what we are discussing right now. So let me know if you are ready to start.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Online or face-to-face?
Online.
Online. Math or science?
Science.
Science. Book or experience?
Book.
Book. Old normal or new normal?
Old normal.
My students are?
My students are amazing.
Parents should?
Parents should work hand in hand with the school, with the teachers.
Teachers are?
Teachers are superheroes.
The school should?
The school should empower all the members of the community.
The country should.
The country should focus on quality education.
And lastly, education is.
Education has a great power, and with that comes great responsibility.
That's pretty much a Peter Parker quotable quotes, Miss Mads. I thank you so much for those answers, and thank you so much for your time. I do hope I can that invite is still on the table. I would really want to be documenting and looking at on how this the new normal is being conducted right now in the Philippines and how we adjusted to it.
Yes, sir. It is my pleasure to
Alright.
be in our program. And yes, you're invited to go to De La Salle Zobel School, and we can help you with your project, with your program.
Alright.
Anyway,
Thank you so much, Miss Mads. So everyone, Miss Mads from De La Salle Zobel, here with us right now, and we're finishing this broadcast right now, and a big thank you to everyone that is listening. All right, thank you so much.